And now it's time for part 2. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. The memory card on my camera filled up and it just stopped on me. So I had to delete some files on there, but let's get back to answering some questions. Have your opinion on Fritz the Cat and its sequel changed a decade later since you reviewed it? Honestly, in a way, yes. Because if you look at some of the content from the original Fritz the Cat, they mention a lot of stuff like Winston and the two girls. They're the 60s equivalent of what would be known as SJWs today, talking about all this, being called colored or Negro and all that kind of stuff. There's a war between what is right and what is left and all this other stuff. So, like, I was 19 when I reviewed the movie. I didn't give a shit about politics, and I didn't really understand a lot of the content from back then, but yeah, a lot of the stuff from Fritz the Cat can be applied to what's going on today. And honestly, but really the big problem with the movie, aside from the sex scenes, is that it's more style over substance. Like, I don't like Fritz's character. He's kind of a jackass. The movie goes way too fast in, like, terms of introducing characters and either having Fritz fuck them or, in some cases, fuck them up. And, yeah, like, even Robert Crumb didn't like the movie. Like it's just a mismatch of things happening. And the same also applies to The 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat. It's just a sequence of events happening. It almost feels like they took bits and pieces from Crumb's comic strip and just slung them all together. And that's about it. And yeah, I like the movies a bit better, but not by a whole lot. And anything else? Oh, I think I mentioned this already. They had 2 Winstons in the original. They couldn't even keep one character the same. Favorite Hardcore Kid episode you have done? The Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo review. I had a whole lot of fun putting that together. I had some famous robot builders from Robot Wars do guest voice acting stuff. I had a whole bunch of gags that I did. It was fun putting that thing together. Least favorite Hardcore Kid you have done? Probably the second smegged up YouTube failure list I did. Like, that was just a complete... That video was doomed from the beginning. Like, too many people in it, too many different opinions. One of the guest commentators we had turned out to be a lol cow. It was not going to happen. Anything else? I wasn't... like, there were some reviews I wasn't really happy putting together. Like, there's a lot of reviews that I straight up deleted altogether, like, because I wasn't happy with them at all. But some people have actually requested I bring them back. No, they were not good. Just let them die. What do you think of the show Smiling Friends? I have not seen a single episode of that show yet. I've heard good things about it, but hopefully I'll get around to seeing it. What are your thoughts on the controversy of Cinemassacre plagiarizing articles with their monster madness around the world? Again, like I said, I don't blame James for this, because he had one of the Screenwave people writing the scripts for some of the episodes, and the Nudnik writer ended up lifting an entire review from a blog? Was it a blog or a video that was online? James got a lot of hate for it. He apologized for it and did a re-review. It really sucks that it happened, but I still have a lot of respect for James, and you know what? People make mistakes, and you learn from them, so it's all good. What do you think about the mysterious Enter bringing up 9/11 when talking about the new Pixar movie Turning Red, as well as his tweets about that went viral? Oh my goodness gracious. Like, I've stated on my last YouTube failure list about how I consider Lily Orchard to be the worst reviewer I ever saw. John Enter, I think at this point he's trying to make himself out to be the worst reviewer ever, because, like, I wasn't always a big fan of Mr. Enter. I watched his reviews back in 2014, 2015. The editing wasn't very good. I mostly just watched it as background noise. And then when he started getting involved in controversies, like talking about not knowing the difference between trolling and cyberbullying, something to do with how comedy is misunderstood, and yeah, just nonsense that didn't make any sense. And I thought, all right, maybe he'd get better over time. But then more and more controversies would start going up, like how he's anti-COVID or anti-mask, and this whole shindig. Like, of all the controversies, like, to actually go viral, it was when he was reviewing Turning Red, a movie I haven't seen. I honestly don't care about it that much, but it looks okay. I will say that, but I don't think it's the best Pixar. Like, in terms of like story and stuff, it doesn't look like it's no Toy Story or Finding Nemo or something like that. But well, and he made some absurd comment in the review about how the movie takes place in 2002 and nobody brought up 9/11. Even though the movie takes place in Canada. It's like, you know who it reminds me of? Remember Navigator? He was from gaming in the Clinton years. He made all these insane comments about how, I remember Laura Croft, he talked about how Laura Croft gets breast cancer. Like, what would happen if he gets breast cancer? Something about getting pregnant and having to take care of someone's baby, and some other ridiculous comments. That's on that level. As well as his tweets after the take went viral, yeah, Enter didn't take it well. He started throwing shade at a lot of his critics. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't. Is this really how a person goes viral these days? They say something stupid, and then everyone spreads the word around. I don't know. But yeah, like, I haven't watched Enter in like 7 years, and I watched Lyle Convoy's commentary on the review. The review is bad. Like, the 9/11 comment is just the tip of the iceberg. He has no idea what he was talking about in that review. Strangely enough, he brought up Braceface, and which I remember Braceface from ABC Family, and actually, that's another show that I'm surprised people actually remember. But yeah, Enter is just not a good reviewer, but I want to see the mysterious Mr. Enter and Lily Orchard in a boxing match, since you know how all these YouTubers are having boxing matches to fight each other and settle conflicts. I want them to see I want to see these two box each other, and whoever comes out the winner is not the worst reviewer on YouTube. Oh, goodness gracious. Besides his Wall and Hocus Pocus reviews, what is the worst Nostalgia Critic review you have seen, and why? Moreover, what did you think about Doug Walker's interview on Double Toasted? Ever since the Change the Channel controversy, I have not watched any of Doug's reviews. The last one I watched was Mouse Hunt, which was fine, because I watched Mouse Hunt when I was little. I think I still have it on VHS. And it was fine, because it didn't have any skits and gags in it. And that's what I really don't like about his newer stuff. I don't like the skits or the gags. What is the worst review? I'd say, I think maybe it's because of a taste preference, but I hated his Good Burger review, because he kept saying how it was the worst thing Nickelodeon has ever produced. Oh, just you wait, Doug. Just wait until you see like the stuff they've been producing today, like Fred the Show, Marvin, and that Fairly Odd Parents thing that's going on right now. Good Burger is far from the worst thing they've ever made. In fact, I liked Good Burger. I like Keenan and Kel. Yeah, and really the problem, I think I would have liked to see him review the game shows and see what he thought of them. It would have been a better alternative. I didn't like his Space Jam review either, but from what I heard, he actually likes it a lot better now. He actually liked Space Jam 2. I was indifferent towards Space Jam 2. Mostly it just bored me. Like the basketball game, it was disorienting, and there wasn't really a whole lot going on in the movie. But yeah. What are some movie shows you'll never review, whether it's as the hardcore kid or even as yourself? Man. I'm not doing any more porn, alright? I did that once. Big mistake. Things got way too horrifying. I don't know. People keep wanting me to review Freddy Got Fingered. I don't think so. I've seen clips from it. I don't want to be sick. Like I don't like comedies that are not funny. Like in 2010, when I was editing my first Smegged Up YouTube failure list, I saw Disaster Movie, and I was angry. I was angry watching that thing, and I don't want to watch and review something that makes me like legitimately in pain. And yeah. Thoughts on people who are motivated by you to reviews like you. Hey, I'm all for it. I enjoy seeing fans and reviewers doing the formula, but not going too crazy with it. Like, we don't need another nostalgia critic, especially with how things have gone. But I'm glad. I encourage more reviews. Speaking and Double Toasted, like mentioned before, I've really enjoyed Double Toasted stuff. I've gotten into Saber Spark. I think he does some good reviews as well. Pan Pizza also does some good reviews too, and like that's some sort of click. I'm really happy with seeing some reviewers and cartoon reviewers doing a lot of stuff. Another reviewer that I also recommend is The Round Table. They do reviews of Disney cartoons like The Owl House and Amphibia. They do good work there, and yeah, it's cool knowing that you've influenced some people to doing reviews, and I'm happy for that. Just don't get too edgy like I did sometimes. Mistakes were made. Will the Reviewer Unknown website be reinstated? I doubt it at this point, because Ozzy, the website's been down for years, ever since Blip shut the doors on everyone and then crashed itself. So I doubt it'll ever happen. What are your thoughts on G4 TV? Ever since they stopped airing Robot Wars on G4, I don't watch G4. Is G4 even on cable anymore? Because I remember they had Ninja Warrior, but no, I don't watch G4 TV, and I've heard some really shady shit about them, but don't take my word for it. What are your thoughts on people who review cartoons, and are they terrible people for reviewing cartoons? It all there are certain reviewers who have, it all depends on execution. Like, you don't have to do the whole angry reviewer gimmick. Just try and make it more natural if you can. You can do a few jokes here and there. I do a few jokes here and there. But, like, when you're cynical to the point where you're even harassing, like, the creators, that's not a good thing. I remember the mysterious Mr. Enter. I recall a while ago he harassed one of the was it a creator or a writer? And they ended up getting a lot of shit for it. But yeah, don't harass creators, don't harass writers, don't do any of that, any negative attitudes towards people. You can make it a character, just don't make it real life. What are your thoughts on harsh criticism? I don't like harsh criticism. I think when it comes to criticism, we need to be more fair and not lash out at people. Like, again, with Misanthropony, just lashing out at people for liking stuff. Like, don't do it. Try to be reasonable. Try to talk. Communication, I think, is the best key when you're trying to talk to somebody, because it's really come down to, like, people lashing out and just being angry. And everyone is angry. We don't need to be angry anymore. I don't. Because I know these last 2 years has just been a nightmare for everyone. But I think if we be more fair and not being too outrageous towards people, I think people can improve, and people can try and learn from any mistakes that we made. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've learned from them over the years. And yeah, I try to make myself a better person than maybe from previous times where I wasn't a good person. Yeah. Is there a site to watch your older reviews as well as your co-review with other reviewers? Like the If It Smells Like an Ed review and co-review of Heavy Metal 2000. Yeah, unfortunately, after Blip folded, a lot of those reviews got lost. I tried to save as many reviews as I could, but I wasn't able to save all of them. My Land Before Time 3 review is gone. Halloween Tree review is gone. I had the file for If It Smells Like an Ed, but it's only in audio form and some other stuff. So a lot of my old reviews are gone, sadly. I have been thinking maybe I'll do re-reviews of them somewhere down the line, but nah, I'm taking a break right now. But who knows? Who knows? I knows. Movies that have come out recently you think deserve more love? I don't know. Sonic 2? I liked Sonic 2. I don't know. I do know a TV show that I think could have used more love, I guess. Remember The Barbarian and the Troll? That was that puppet show that aired on Nickelodeon last year. I actually thought that they did a good job with that. Like some people compared it to Mr. Meaty. No, Mr. Meaty was too ugly looking for its own good. I thought they did a good job. I thought the voice acting was good. They got a little bit too tongue-in-cheek with the jokes, but I think it was solid. They had some pretty decent puppetry work. I mean, like in the last episode, they have an entire fight scene with the puppets flying around all over the place in front of green screens, and it looked pretty good. Brendar, I think, is the main character. I thought she was a decent protagonist. Gets a little too on the Daria side sometimes. Gets a little sarcastic, but yeah, I'm disappointed it only lasted one season, unless they're working on another season. Although, given that Nickelodeon really, they really aren't very good at handling shows. Like, I remember years ago they mentioned how Salute Your Shorts was going to be renewed for a third season, but I guess they couldn't afford it, and so they canceled that. And like all these projects they're working on, like Nickelodeon has just become a rather rinky-dink company, and they really aren't sure how to handle their shows that aren't named SpongeBob or The Loud House. Did you hear about the recent news of Chris Chan? Oh, goodness gracious. So if you haven't heard, Chris Chan is now in jail. Apparently he was an absolute abortion of a troll named Isabella Janke. Conversed him? Is that the word? Conversed him into sexually abusing his mom. Chris ended up getting arrested for incest for it. He's been in jail for almost a year now, and like this whole Chris Chan rabbit hole, like back then in like 2009, 2010, like I can't even say it was harmless, because there were times where there's some really bad trolls that were trying to make his life miserable. Blue Spike in the sex tape, Blanca in the medallion, people trolling him into making him drive out to Ohio to save a girl who was being abused. Just disgusting behavior. And you'd think that after the decade of being trolling, Chris would learn from these mistakes. And for a while it seems like he was, but then mentally he was just gone. Like to the point where he thought he was Jesus Christ. And it's been like the rabbit hole goes so deep that there's been people who've been making documentaries about Chris Chan. Just multi-part documentaries, like 85 parts. And I don't watch them because, honestly, it's just become obsessive at this point. Like, why are you focusing all your hard-earned work and editing into just this one person? And honestly, Chris Chan, I think this is the end of the Chris Chan saga. I don't think he's getting out of jail anytime soon. And, yeah, I've never really been comfortable following all these channels that just completely following these things. I mean, especially when you figure out that the people behind these channels are not good people either. Like, Dylan Thomas got into some shady shit. Sons of Kojima with DSP completely crashed and burned. They're just not good people. And that's why I don't really follow lolcows or any commentators of that type too. There are exceptions, like Just a Robot or Manga Common, but yeah, it's not good. What is your favorite Robot Wars episode? That's very interesting. I would say the Commonwealth Carnage from Extreme Season 2, because that was the episode where Firestorm flipped Mr. Psycho over, and that made me a Firestorm fan big time, and it's a solid episode. I also like the Northern Annihilator from Series 4 because I loved the Annihilators growing up. Again, the first episode of Robot Wars I ever watched was the Extreme Warriors Season 1 Annihilator with Drillzilla. And they won a belt, and I got a belt right here. What else? This Northern Annihilator at the first round was like one of the best matches I've ever seen. The Southern Annihilator is okay. With the people really just remember it for when Razor killed Matilda. Any other episodes? The Series 10 Grand Final was really good. I mean, there were just great matches up and down the card. I liked Series 10 Episode 1 because Behemoth finally won an episode, and Behemoth was always one of my favorite robots as a kid. I even have a little miniature Behemoth called Brother Nero, although it got broken in Motorama, so it's not running anymore. But it was an interesting experiment. But there's some other ones that I could probably think of, but they're not off the top of my head at the moment. But yeah. Moving on down the line. What happened to your Oron High School Host Club review? Again, lost. If you decide to do another Smegged Up YouTubers list, will Nikocado Avocado be on there? In my opinion, he's worse than Amberlyn Reed. Probably because these mukbangers are just sick. Nikocado Avocado, I think, is even worse than Amberlyn. He's just disgusting. He's creepy. When you look back at a lot of his earlier stuff, when he was vegan and only 150 pounds, I don't know. I heard he was kind of a dick back then as well, and he's only gotten worse from there. And just watching him basically eating himself to death is just horrifying. Maybe. Oh, come on. How do you deal with people who mock you for having almost no hair anymore? I mean, I got hair. I've been eating my vegetables. It's not going away. Brandon, what is by far the best thing that happened to you during 2022? This belt. Yeah. Not really a whole lot has happened in my 2022 so far. I'm going to Houston in July for Comicpalooza, and there's a robot event going on there. The robot event is called Robotica, so at least for now. I don't know how long the name's going to stay, since Robotica was the name of a robot combat show from the early 2000s. But I took second at Motorama. I don't know. 2022 has been a rather slow year so far. I'm glad that the pandemic is kind of starting to wind down. I mean, things are starting to get better. Mask mandate, it's kind of dropped, although the cases are rising again. But I don't know. I'm vaccinated. I'm boosted. I'm good to go. I feel good. I think that's the best thing that's happened to me in 2022. It's feeling good, and I want to continue to feel good throughout the rest of the year. I want to keep feeling good throughout the rest of my life. Just keep on going with stuff. Any chance of reviewing the Totally Spies movie? Maybe. How would you describe Disney's The Owl House? Amazing. It's next to Amphibia. It's one of my favorite shows of today, and a lot of great episodes. They actually deal with some very delicate topics, like losing a parent, learning how to do magic. Some very unique character designs. I like the design of the giant bat mother thing that lives in the woods. Ida's a really funny character. King's a funny character. And yes, I support Lumity. I mean, who couldn't support Lumity besides homophobes? They are just an adorable couple, and I'm glad Dana Terrace did a good job of getting them together and not forcing the ship together. They had a very slow build up to them eventually coming together. Amity is this absolute bitch of a character. just absolutely horrendous to Luce and King, and then as time goes on, she slowly starts to connect, and you can see the pieces coming together, and then finally they pull the trigger on Lumity, and away we go. And it's not like one of those shows where they don't wait until the last episode to make Lumity a couple. Like Adventure Time, they waited until the last episode for for Bubblegum and Marceline to kiss. That they finally just said, hey, we're a couple now, and I'm glad they did that. They're adorable and they deserve all the happiness. Who is your favorite loud sibling in the Loud House? That's easy. Lisa! Nah, I'm just kidding. Luna, of course. And speaking of gay couples, this is another show that also has a lesbian couple. It's Luna and Sam, and they're also pretty cute, although they don't really have Sam in a lot of episodes, and it's understandable because the show has a huge cast, and they're trying to even it out throughout the show, try to focus more on all the rest of the Louds. But Luna besides being cool with Sam, Luna is just an awesome character. She loves the rock and roll, she does. I love the rock and roll too. I'm glad she tries to keep the spirit of rock and roll alive. My favorite episode of the show was always Really Loud Music because it has some of the best songs, like no joke, like some really amazing songs. And Nika Flutterman, I remember her as Olga. I hated her. I hated Olga, but I think that was the idea. But Luna is just a fantastic character. And say what you will about the Loud House, but I think if you want to get into the Loud House, watch any episodes that focus on Luna, because they're hands down the best episodes, especially Really Loud Music. What got you into making the Hardcore Kid videos? Watching other reviewers like AVGN and Nostalgia Critic. I was really a big... I really wanted to get into the Angry Reviewer gimmick too, and I'm happy to see some others have gotten into it. I think it was a bit tricky trying to come up with a gimmick. Like, I wanted to wear sunglasses because I have this issue where I'm always terrible with looking at the camera or trying to look face to face. But I had sunglasses. I was 18 when I started the show, so I decided to call myself the Hardcore Kid, a teenager who likes rock and roll music and cartoons and stuff like that. And went on from there. So I've been doing it, I think, a bit longer. It's because I'm thinking of, for my new review, I'm not calling myself the Hardcore Kid. I'm calling myself the Hardcore Dude. So if you see the thumbnail for the website or for the video, it doesn't say Hardcore Kid. It says Hardcore Dude. That's because I'm not a kid anymore. I'm 31. It doesn't work anymore. I mean, it might work for Shawn Michaels, or I don't know, but sometimes you just got to change things up. What's your favorite rock music of all time? Oh, goodness gracious, hard rock. I like AC/DC. I like Ramones. I like heavy metal as well. Metallica, Black Sabbath, Jethro Tull, Talking Heads. Who else? Weird Al Yankovic. Yeah, what? Weird Al can be hard rock too. Have you heard some of his? He's done some hard rock songs too. Nature Trail to Hell is a banger. Yeah, I like all kinds of different styles of rock, but the real hard rock is what I really like. Do you play any instruments? Yes, I have a drum set right here. I was hoping to get a band together. I don't know. You know any bass players and a singer who need a drummer? Would you review Morbius? No. Anyone you regret putting on your worst best YouTubers list? I remember when we put A. Salieri on the second list and he didn't like it. But honestly, the big problem was that, like looking back on it, he just was kind of not a good guy, really, because He would get into a lot of drama with a lot of different channels, and he didn't like it when people criticized him. And I mentioned that because like a year after the YouTube failure list, some guy named Kyle actually was talking about how he was being salty with other people. Asa didn't like it, and he actually threatened him over the phone and then stalked him outside his house in his car. It was just that bad. And honestly, like there's some people I don't want to put on a YouTube failure list because I don't want them given the attention. Ethan Ralph is a monster. Nick Fuentes is a monster. Just all these political nutcases who just can't take criticism, because those people will straight up ruin your life. And I do not want to give them the attention. What are the best music venues in New Jersey? Damn. I don't think, it's not the Meadowlands anymore. Is it the Izod Center now? I think they're still doing things at the Izod Center, where sometimes they have concerts there. A decade ago, I was at a Maxwell's in Hoboken. I don't know if it's still there anymore, but I went there for Marky Ramone's Blitzkrieg. They had Michael Graves from the Misfits as the singer. I don't know a whole lot of venues anymore. A lot of them, I'm pretty sure, closed up because of the pandemic, because they weren't doing anything. They couldn't find anybody. But I hope they have some venues out there, because I still want to see some acts, listen to rock out. Because like the Blitzkrieg, like Marky Ramone's Blitzkrieg concert was really good, and there was like a giant mosh pit where we're just pushing each other around in circles. Those are the kinds of crowds I want to be in. It's fun. I know you're a rock and roll guy, so is there any new rock bands you're listening to? Are there any new rock bands? That's the big question, because I can't think of any. A lot of the bands I'm listening to now are classic bands who are still keeping going. Like AC/DC, I got their Power Up album. I really liked it. Metallica's still doing concerts. They're in South America right now. I can't think of any new rock bands. Yeah. But I hope someone suggests some new rock bands, because what I really look for, what I look for in music is hooks, like some really catchy riffs, like that kind of stuff that makes me want to keep replaying that bit over and over again, because that's what really gets me into liking those songs. And goodness gracious, I think I've gone through all these questions. Really? Are there any other questions? I don't think so. I think I got them all. Or I think I saw a comment from Rossetti's Replicas. Maybe I can find that. Oh.